Use three quotes when you want to write in different lines, like one variable but in different lines. What we used to do was we only we only write only a single quote, isn't it? Only a single quote and say I am a boy. If you intend to put an enter, then that will be an error because it does not allow you to assign this variable in multiple lines. But if you want to assign the variable in multiple lines, that means you must use a triple quote, whether single or double. So 1, 2, 3. Then whatever you type can be in a single line. I am a boy. He is from London. Is that understood? So if you go back to print word, this is printed the same way you declared it. Can you see that? The same way you declare it. So if you want to declare a string in many lines of code, just use triple quotes, whether single or double. Let's take for example, number 1 is equal to 5, number 2 is equal to 7, number 3 is equal to number 1 plus number 2. Okay. Now I have some additions, right? Then I want to print the result, isn't it? Can I print the result? Okay, good. Then I write print the solution is, then you put a comma, right? And write what? Number 3. Does everyone understand this? So you put a comma. So why are you putting the comma? Why don't you use plus? Because number 3 is not a string and you cannot concatenate an integer to a string. If I want to use a plus for concatenation, that means I must have converted number 3 to what? To a string, isn't it? Good. But do I need to convert to a string? No. I can just put a comma and print. So let's run this code now. So what do we have? We have a 12, isn't it? I can use a format instead of using a comma. Because what if you're adding so many things and you want to show so many results and everything on one line? Or let me say number 4 is equal to number 3 multiplied raised to power 8, and number 5 is equal to number 2 plus 5 multiplied by 2 minus 3. Can you see? Then I want to print the 5 of them, but on the one line. That means I have to write the solution. The first solution is number 3, then comma again, isn't it? After comma, then write what? The second solution is, then comma, isn't it? What is the next one? Number 4, then comma again, then another quote. The third solution is, then comma again, and that will be what? Number 5. Can you see? I want to print everything on one line. So that means I have to write comma, comma, different strings. And if I want to convert everything to a string so I can concatenate, it will still take me some time because I have to write a string, concatenate another one, concatenate another one. Do you guys understand this? So this is stressful. I may even forget to put a comma, do you know? I may forget, and maybe I forget to put a comma somewhere and I didn't know. Then I run the code. If I run the code, there's an error. I will start finding where the error is, most especially in examination condition. Now I told you your time will not be enough, isn't it? Then your time is not enough. Then you are seeing an error for the code you have written well. Then you start to panic. So pasting prevents making mistake is better than making mistake and start panicking. Is that understood? But if I have remembered to put the comma, then there will be no error. Can you see that? There will be no error. Everything is printed on one line. So if you want to prevent error and prevent the use of so many commas and so many strings, you can print everything in one string using the format. What do I say? Everything in one string. But if I print this, it will not print the result, do you know? It will only print number, isn't it? Because everything is now a string, isn't it? If I print this, there will be no value. Everything is printed as one string, but the values are not printed because I put everything in one string. The reason why the previous value was printed because everything is not in one string, isn't it? So to prevent that, I need to use what? A format. And how do I use that? You put F before you start typing, before your string. And after you do that, your variables can be in curly brackets. Your variables can be in a curly bracket. The ones you want the value to be printed, curly bracket. If you don't put a comma, it prints the curly bracket as a curly bracket. But because of the format, it's not going to print that curly bracket as a curly bracket. Let me remove the format. If I remove the format, then I print, what do you see? It printed the curly bracket as well, right? It prints everything as a what? As a string. Is that understood? But if I add back the format and run this code, can you see that this is very amazing? Is there any comma? How many strings do I have here? 1. I print the value in this string. Can you see that, everyone? I said the format does not mean that it must be integer or string. The job of the formatting is to put the variable value, the value of the variable into that string. So when I change number 3 to Yusuf and I wrote the first solution is number 3, can you see the result? The first solution is Yusuf because the value of number 3 is what? Is Yusuf. Yusuf is assigned to number 3. Is that understood? So that value assigned is printed instead of number 3. So it works for all data type, not just for what? For integers or floats. Let's take, for example, these are floats, and this is 5 point this, 7 point this, 8 point this. So these are float values, right? So if you print this now, you can see your results. Can you see? In lots of decimal places, right? So what if you want it to be 2 decimal places, or 3 decimal places, or 4 decimal places, or 5 decimal places? Do you understand? What if you want that to happen? You just write the first solution is number 3 is a string, so you don't use decimal place for a string, isn't it? This one is number 4, and number 4, do you write full column dots, number of decimal place, then F. Full column dot 3 decimal place F. So if I want this code now, how many decimal place is the first one now? Can you all see it? 0.90. What is decimal place? 2. And this is what? Is 3. Is that understood?